Welcome to Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater. Now, here's your host, Lisa Condit.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening today. I'm excited to be on the phone with Michael Paré, Jr., who plays Buddy Holly in Buddy, the Buddy Holly story. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, we are very excited to have Buddy, the Buddy Holly story, coming to the Hanover Theater, and that's going to be Friday, March 23rd. This is one of those high-energy shows. The reviews have been really positive. The Boston Globe described it as sending people out of the theater on an unstoppable high, sensational. The show is now in its 27th amazing year. Tell me a little bit about your journey as Buddy Holly.
Well, it is an interesting journey. I've been alive as long as the show has been around, which is crazy. And the first show I ever really saw professionally was this show, The Buddy Holly Story. My cousin and my uncle were in a production of it in Pennsylvania. And growing up, so I was 8 years old, I saw the show, and I was like, oh, I want to get on stage, and I want to learn how to play guitar. So it really launched me into it. They were in a bunch of shows. This is the first one I saw that I was like, oh, that's cool. They're like doing that. Like right there, that's them, but it's not them. But they're doing, like, it was so interesting for me at the time. And so it sort of launched my interest and career into the theater arts. And ever since then, I've been doing it.
Well, that's great. You know, the Hanover Theater launched a conservatory a little over a year ago, so we are very much committed to arts and performing arts education. I'm just curious, how did you really start out developing your skill for what you knew was going to be your ideal career on the stage?
It's interesting, and that's a good question. I think that one of the things that I always think of, no matter what art form you want to pursue or anything you want to pursue, is like you have to want to do it. Nobody's going to make you want to do it. You know, I think that like when I was teaching music, parents would be like, "Hey, can you teach my kid guitar?" And I would say, "Do they want to learn how to play guitar?" Like, the first
right?
Like, you gotta want to do the thing to get good at it. Otherwise, you're just going to be sort of like unhappy and you're never going to get past a certain level. But if you really love it and avoid it at a certain point. So I think that that's the first major thing is like really wanting to do it, feeling like there's nothing else that you could do, and if and it's like and I always felt like that I was going to be working in some sort of entertainment, some sort of like I like the idea of becoming other people. You know, I think that's fascinating and interesting, you know, psychologically and sociologically, and. So then when I was in high school and middle school, I didn't think it was that cool, you know, and that's another thing. You got to get over the hump of thinking that it's going to be cool or it's going to be easy or it's all going to be just like happy fun. It is a lot of work and it takes a lot of focus, and something I learned going into college and really buckling down and going, okay, no, I don't take this seriously. It's not just like just given to you. You really hard and focus on it. I think you know, it's like you got to love it, and then you also have to know that it just doesn't happen just because you love it. You have to like actually care about it as like some sort of, you know, it has to become a part of your life.
Absolutely. It's like the 10,000 hours to greatness, right? You know, it takes quality instruction, then it takes that passion, and it takes a lot of practice. 10,000 hours, in fact, right? Yeah. And, you know, just reading a little bit about the show, I'm always struck by how iconic so many of the songs are. You know, they're part of our culture. They're part of our country's, you know, history with That'll Be the Day, one of my all-time favorites, Not Fade Away, Oh Boy, La Bamba, Chantilly Lace. You know, what's really your favorite song, or is it a tie between a couple of them?
Man, that's a great question. I mean, I think there's an interesting difference of like I love all the music that we do in the show, obviously, and it's been very influential for me over the course of my whole life. Since my family is a very musical, artistic family, I've had it around me my whole life. I think that for me, there's a difference between like what song do I love to play and perform, and what song do I just like love in general, you know, and how influential each song is so different based on like I don't know. It's a hard question to answer.
I know. But, are there any songs that you just remember learning when you were much younger, and they're the types of things that you just have been practicing literally for decades and you can't wait to do it? Or are there some undiscovered treasures that you were surprised how much you enjoy performing them?
Oh, okay. Well, that I can definitely answer. Yeah, That'll Be the Day was one of those songs that I just thought was so cool growing up, and so I started learning guitar. That was like, I have to learn how to play that because I love that it was like I never knew what a capo was, and that he plays it on the fifth. It's like, oh, so he learned. I learn things just to learn that song and about like how to use the open. It was a very interesting, that whole introduction, the solo, everything is cool about it. And then on the opposite side, I had never really heard some of his later, more orchestral stuff when I was growing up. It was always just like the straight up rock and roll, like, like Not Fade Away and That'll Be the Day and Oh Boy. Like everybody knows that kind of stuff, but it's still like Raining in My Heart is one of those songs in the show that it's like it takes it down. It's a beautiful ballad and it's orchestrated, and like for me, that's like one of my favorite songs to play, and it's the song that I discovered from the show because I had not really heard it before. Because it was just not what at the time when I was really, really into Buddy when I was growing up, like it wasn't the kind of music I wanted to listen to as a young man. But now I like have an appreciation for its brilliance,
Oh, that's great. So what are some of the things that you think that members of the audience should look for, some really key high points of this show?
Well, I would say the one thing that I think that I get a lot from audience members, because I like to go out and talk, so definitely like for your listeners out there, like if you want to meet me, just stay in the lobby if you can. I will come out. I'll come out of the show and I'll talk to people, and I'll take pictures and I'll do whatever. I like that. I think it's very important for performers to interact with their audience members, especially with a touring company that is in places that like they don't always have shows like this come through. Opportunity to talk to the people who are working on it directly. But what I'm always fascinated by is the responses that I think look out for the fact that everybody is playing everything live. All the music that you see on stage is happening on stage live, which is great because it's cool to see that there are so many talented musicians in the cast, and everybody's really like zoning in and playing off of one another and really listening to each other, which is wonderful. Because, but at the same time, when there's a mistake, you kind of see this rare moment of like, well, it's like we know it's not always perfect because sometimes sometimes you're really cold and your fingers aren't quite warmed up by the time the show starts, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm trying to get my fingers down to chord, and it's like, but that's live, that's music, that's how it would have happened anytime. So I think that's really important.
Well, that's the excitement of live performing arts, right? And it's a shared experience.
Yeah, right.
The energy that you must get from the crowds that come to see you must be pretty incredible, too.
Oh, it can be electrifying. I mean, like, that's the one thing that I think is really interesting about theater and why I love theater, because I've done film. I love doing film. I love doing TV. I love doing all that stuff. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, like my first true love was the theater because it's so alive, and you never know what's going to happen, and it relies so much. I think people don't realize this sort of what's the word? Sort of the shark in the moray of the audience and the performers. It's like you need the performers need to be great so that the audience gives a great response, but the audience needs to give great response so the performer can be great. It's like they fuel each other, they feed off of each other, and it's like if we go out there and people are like, woo, and we're like, oh, I guess they don't want to see us. It's like, I guess they're not happy to see us. But if we come out and they're like, we're like, yeah, okay, here's an even better show than you thought you were going to do. It's like, so that to me is really fascinating. And sometimes you get those audiences that are just so off the wall, like dancing the aisles, coming up to the stage, like yelling things out, like, and it really influences the show, and it just makes it so fresh and different because we're on stage and we're shocked by it. It's like it's an incredible experience to be like, wow, this is a living, breathing entity, and what an honor it is to be able to come out here and have an audience so receptive to what we're doing and influencing us in such a positive, amazing way.
Absolutely. So if you would like to see Michael Paré Jr. playing Buddy Holly in Buddy, the Buddy Holly story, he is coming to the Hanover Theater. The show is going to be Friday, March 23rd. Curtain time is at 7:30. The tickets are really reasonably priced. They start at just $39, and there are discounts available for our members, children, groups of 10 or more. You can get more information and see a preview on our website, which is the Hanover Theater, spelled with an RE.org. Michael, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to talk to us. And everybody will be right back after this quick break here on Behind the Scenes with the Hanover Theater on WCRN AM 830. Thank you so much, Michael.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.